In a small village nestled between the hills of the great African savanna, there was a hospital known to all as MOYO Health Center. It was a humble establishment, built by the generosity of a wealthy philanthropist who believed that even the poorest villagers deserved access to medical care. The village, known as Kijiji, was surrounded by lush forests, tall grasslands, and rivers, and though its people were mostly farmers and traders, they had an unshakable belief in their ancestral spirits and the power of the earth to heal. Among the many people who worked at MOYO Health Center was a nurse named Nia. Nia had moved to Kijiji from the city in search of a simpler life, away from the crowded streets and the demands of city living. She was young, beautiful, and with a sharp mind that allowed her to excel at her work. But beneath her calm and friendly demeanor, Nia harbored a secret. She had a deep hunger for wealth and would do anything to obtain it. As fate would have it, Nia's ambition led her down a dark and treacherous path. One day, a young woman named Amina, who had traveled for days from a neighboring village, arrived at the hospital in labor. Amina had already given birth twice before, but this time, something felt different. She was scared and exhausted, but she was determined to bring her baby into the world safely. The villagers had all told her that MOYO Health Center was the best place to give birth, and she trusted that the doctors and nurses there would take good care of her. Nia, who had been assigned to Amina's case, welcomed her into the hospital room with a warm smile. She gently reassured Amina that everything would be all right and promised to help her through the delivery. Amina, though anxious, felt comforted by Nia's calm presence. As the hours passed, the pain of labor grew more intense, and Nia walked swiftly and expertly, guiding Amina through each contraction. The villagers believed that women in labor had a special connection to the spirits, and it was said that a midwife with a pure heart would be blessed with the ability to help the child arrive safely into the world. But as Nia stood over Amina, her thoughts began to wander. She had heard rumors of women who were paid vast sums of money for healthy babies, especially those born under mysterious or rare circumstances. Her mind raced with the possibilities. Amina's baby was healthy and strong. This could be the opportunity Nia had been waiting for. When Amina finally gave a great cry and the baby emerged into the world, Nia's face was a mask of professional calm, but inside, she felt a thrill of excitement. The baby, a beautiful girl with bright eyes and a cry that seemed to echo through the room, was wrapped in a soft cloth. Nia, who had witnessed many births, felt an unfamiliar sense of greed surge inside her. The doctor who had been overseeing Amina's delivery stepped out for a moment to handle other matters in the hospital, leaving Nia alone with Amina and her newborn daughter. Seizing the opportunity, Nia quickly hatched a plan. She could tell Amina that the baby needed further medical attention and would have to be taken to another facility for special care. It would be easy to convince Amina. The exhaustion and pain from the labor would make her too weak to resist. Nia would sneak the baby away and sell her to a wealthy family in the city who had longed for a child of their own. Nia smiled to herself. She had already prepared for this moment. She had a contact in the city who could find buyers for babies like this. All she needed was a few minutes of time. She would carry out the plan quickly, and no one would ever know. But just as she reached for the baby, a faint whisper in the air caught her attention. It was as if the wind had spoken to her, an old, familiar voice. "Nia," it called. "You are being watched. Do not betray the trust of the spirits." Nia froze, her heart racing. She had heard such whispers before in her childhood, but had dismissed them as superstition. Yet now, standing in the room with the newborn, she felt the weight of the words on her soul. But the desire for wealth was stronger than any voice. Nia quickly wrapped the baby in the cloth and prepared to slip out of the room. The village was far away from the nearest city, and there were no eyes to watch her in the hospital. She was sure she would be able to disappear with the child. Just as she reached the door, Amina, still lying on the bed, weak from the labor, whispered faintly, "Where is my child, Nurse Nia?" The question sent a cold chill down Nia's spine. She turned slowly, trying to keep her composure, but the baby in her arms seemed to grow heavier with each passing moment. She couldn't lie. The weight of the crime she was about to commit felt unbearable. I was just going to get some medicine for her, Amina. I'll be back soon. But Amina's eyes, though tired, gleamed with a knowing look. I can feel it. The spirits are telling me something. They are saying that you are taking my child. Nia stood motionless for a moment, her thoughts a whirlwind. She had not planned for this. But then, she heard it again, the whisper, this time more urgent. Nia, you cannot escape your fate. You must choose the right path, or you will lose everything. At that moment, the door to the room creaked open. Standing in the doorway was an old woman, bent with age but sharp of mind and steady of gaze. It was Mama Osha, the village's revered herbalist and spirit medium. She had been watching over Amina from the moment she entered the hospital. Mama Osha stepped forward, her voice steady and powerful. You think you can steal this child, Nurse Nia? You think you can escape the judgment of the spirits? This child is not yours to take. She has a destiny that you cannot change. Nia's breath caught in her throat. The old woman's presence seemed to fill the room, as if the earth itself had come alive with energy. The whispers in Nia's mind grew louder, and she felt the weight of her actions bear down on her heart. But it was too late. Nia felt the baby grow heavier and heavier in her arms. The cloth she had wrapped around her seemed to burn against her skin. In that instant, she realized that her greed had made her a prisoner of her own desires. The baby spirit was far stronger than hers, and the earth itself was rejecting her intentions. Amina, though weak, rose from her bed, her hands trembling but determined. Nurse Nia, you cannot escape this. Return my child. With a sudden force, Mama Osha raised her hands, and the hospital room seemed to darken. The air crackled with energy. Nia's grip on the baby loosened, and the child seemed to float gently from her arms, returning to Amina's outstretched hands. In that moment, Nia collapsed to her knees, overwhelmed by the spirit's fury. Mama Osha approached her slowly, her face full of sorrow, not anger. You have betrayed the trust of the spirits and of your people. Now, you must face the consequences. Nia, broken and humbled, begged for forgiveness. The village gathered, and the elders decided that Nia must leave Kijiji, for she had lost the trust of the people and the spirits alike. Her heart was heavy with regret as she walked away, realizing that no amount of wealth could replace the peace and respect she had lost. Amina and her daughter, safe and sound, returned to their village, and the child, whose name was Zoe, grew up strong and wise, with the blessings of the earth and the spirits. And as for Nia, her name was never spoken again in the village, but the lessons of her greed would echo through the generations. The spirits had taught her that no evil deed could go unpunished, and that no one, no matter how clever, could escape their fate. The tale of Nurse Nia's greed became a story passed down through the generations, reminding all who heard it that the earth, the spirits, and the power of community could not be swayed by the ambitions of a single soul. Years passed, and the village of Kijiji returned to its peaceful ways, but the story of Nurse Nia and the stolen child became a legend, a cautionary tale whispered among the elders to their children and grandchildren, urging them to live with honesty and respect for the spirits and the earth. Amina and her daughter, Zoe, lived a long and fulfilling life. Zoe grew up to be a wise and kind young woman, known throughout Kijiji for her knowledge of the old ways, the healing herbs, and the language of the spirits. She inherited not only her mother's love but also the protection of the ancestors. It was said that when Zoe walked through the village, the birds would sing a little louder, the breeze would feel a little softer, and the earth beneath her feet would hum a quiet song of blessings. But Zoe's life was destined for more than just the peaceful existence of her mother. One day, As she stood by the river near the edge of the village, an old man appeared before her. His face was wrinkled with age, and his eyes held the deep knowledge of the world. He was a spirit elder, known to only a few in the village, and his appearance was rare and sacred. "Zai," the old man called gently. "You are the one the spirits have chosen. The time has come for you to take your place in the world." Zai was not afraid. She had always felt a connection to something beyond the physical world, something ancient and powerful. "What do you mean, elder?" she asked. The old man smiled, his eyes gleaming with both pride and sadness. "The world is changing. The balance between the spirits, the earth, and humankind is threatened. There are many who have lost their way, like Nurse Nia once did, and it is now your responsibility to restore that balance. You are the one who can heal the hearts of those who have fallen astray, and you must walk a path that bridges the seen and unseen worlds." Zai listened carefully, understanding the weight of his words. "I will do as the spirits ask of me," she promised. The elder nodded, his face softening. "Your journey will not be easy, for the world is full of greed, jealousy, and corruption. But remember the lessons of your ancestors. You must always walk with respect for the earth, the spirits, and all who inhabit it. There will be times when you must use your gifts to heal, but there may also be times when you must protect what is sacred." With that, the elder disappeared into the mist of the morning, leaving Zai standing at the riverbank, filled with a deep sense of purpose. She returned to her village, where her mother Amina, now an elder herself, was waiting.